Prostitution should be legal. According to criminal defense lawyer, Nevada is the only state in the country where prostitution is legal. This being said, Nevada only permits prostitution to licensed brothels in only 8 counties in the state. Anywhere else in the state, prostitution is a misdemeanor crime. People are going to have sex, and they might as well get paid for it. I think there are some very good things that can come from making prostitution legal throughout the United States. Therefore, I propose that the federal government make prostitution legal across the nation. I have 3 reasons for wanting to make prostitution legal. The government can tax it, making money and putting more into their budget. It will create a safer working environment for the prostitutes. Finally, it will decrease the amount of human trafficking that takes place in the major cities of the country. My first point is that the federal government would be able to tax the income of the prostitutes and make money for the country. Case for legalizing prostitution says that the average annual income of an employee at one Nevada brothel working only 1 week per month is at least $100,000. They continue to say that based on this number, each legally licensed sex worker would contribute more than $20,000 in federal income taxes per year. Current estimates say that there are over 1 million prostituted women in America, bringing the potential tax revenue to $20 billion per year. Excise taxes are narrowly based taxes on consumption levied on specific goods, services, and activities, says the Tax Policy Center. Prostitution would fall under this category, and the only excise tax that would make more than prostitution is the highway-related tax, which brought in $37.6 billion in 2017. Prostitution would just over double the alcohol excise tax, which was $9.9 billion in 2017, all according to the Tax Policy Center. So as you can see, making prostitution legal would be a great way for the government to make extra money. My second point is that making prostitution legal would create safer work environments for sex workers. One way it would make it safer is that it would protect sex workers from HIV. According to NPR, female sex workers face a disproportionately large burden of HIV and are 54 times more likely to be infected with HIV in their lifetime than women in the general population. That is an astounding number. However, the same article says that if prostitution were made legal around the world, the transmission of HIV among female sex workers would go down by at least a third. Legalizing prostitution would also make the physical conditions better. According to Harvard Civil Rights, prostitution is an incredibly dangerous profession for the mostly women involved. Sexual assault, forced drug addiction, physical abuse, and death are common in the industry. However, it goes on to talk about how well legalizing prostitution has worked for other countries, specifically the Netherlands. Bringing the industry out of the black market and imposing strict regulations has improved the safety of sex workers. Brothels are required to obtain and renew safety and hygiene licenses in order to operate, and street prostitution is legal and heavily regulated in places like the red light district. They go on to say that not only does sex work become safer when it's regulated, but legalization also works to weed out the black market that exists for prostitution, thereby making women safer overall. All of these things are important ways that legalizing prostitution can help create safer working environments for the sex workers. My third and last advantage for making prostitution legal is that it will decrease the amount of human trafficking that takes place. According to the AMA Journal of Ethics, criminalization of prostitution increases opportunities for violence that is unreportable. Because the work they do is regarded as criminal activity, sex workers are easy targets for abuse and exploitation, including trafficking. Fear of arrests and other consequences means that those engaged in sex work are less likely to report instances of violence and or exploitation, says Albright. Therefore, the decriminalization of prostitution would give sex workers the ability to report violence and exploitation without fear of being arrested or charged with things like misdemeanors. This would make the instances of these things go down. It would also decrease human trafficking because people would be more fearful of the increased chances of them getting caught. There would also not be a need for illegal human trafficking anymore because sex work would not be a criminalized act. In conclusion, I propose the federal government should make prostitution legal across the United States. I think this because it would allow the government to tax it, making more money. The profits from sex work could be as great as $20 billion, almost double that of alcohol at $9.9 billion. The second thing is that it would create safer working environments, protecting them from HIV and requiring safety and hygiene licenses. The third reason is that it would decrease human trafficking. Decriminalization of prostitution would allow sex workers to report violence and abuse without the fear of being arrested or charged with crimes. I think each of these three reasons are why we need to legalize prostitution.